So I quote, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves, our posterity. We do ordain and approve this Constitution of the United States of America," end quote. So the words justice, domestic tranquility, common defense, general welfare, all of these are really good things, right? Common good. But it also says the importance of securing the blessings of liberty to ourselves, for posterity, which means really for our descendants and for all citizens. We also know that the first 10 amendments of the US Constitution all focused on individual rights and freedoms, right? So if you have spent some time at Bowling Green State University, you may be familiar with our university, and you may be familiar with the phrase, a public university for the public good. I have said that line a lot, okay? But I am often asked, what exactly do you mean by public good? What does that mean? You know, some say, well, that sounds kind of liberal, right? And others say, oh no, that sounds conservative. Others say it may be aligned with a political party. It may be more about the proletariat versus the bourgeois, right? So a lot of different ways that people interpret that. So today, what I want to do is share at least what public good means to me. And quite honestly, I believe it's neither conservative nor liberal. In fact, I am not sure any of the political rhetoric we are hearing today is actually a debate of conservative or liberal issues. Quite honestly, I believe it is this tension that exists between individual rights and freedoms and the common good. The general welfare versus the blessings of liberty. So I've been influenced by my thinking on this by an American author by the name of Colin Woodard. He's a journalist, and he's written a lot of different books, including a book entitled The American Character. And in it, he makes this argument that this tension exists here in the United States between individual rights and freedom and the common good. And that has long been the roots of a lot of our debate that we have had since the founding of this country. And he would argue that perhaps even before the founding of our country, those kinds of debates were going on in other civilizations as well. This idea of individual freedom and the common good. And so I'm intrigued by this idea a great deal. And so I want to explore that idea a little bit more. Individual rights, common good. So if a society is singularly focused on the common good, so we focus on the common good, everyone is doing exactly the assigned tasks they were told to do. It's kind of like an ant colony, right? Now, there's a lot of positives to that. Very efficient. Everybody is very clear on kind of the goals and what you're trying to achieve. Now, there is a whole debate about who's going to decide and who's going to tell you what to do. But everybody does exactly what they're told. Nothing else is expected of those individuals. Everyone does their assignment. There is no really, in fact, individual freedoms and rights are really not allowed. So that's an extreme common good, okay? And we do know there are societies that have been organized like that in the history of the human condition. In fact, perhaps many. And some have argued that in the history of humans, those sorts of societies have maybe not really prospered or really developed and grown because of this lack of perhaps creativity and innovation. Okay, so now here on the other end, think of a society that is totally about individual freedom, individual rights and freedom. People can do whatever they want to do, whatever they like to do. There's no laws. There's no rules. It's total freedom. It's a free society. Maybe the strongest person always wins. I don't know. And you might say, well, this freedom, it's going to reward those that work really hard and are creative and they innovate and it supports entrepreneurialism. And those are really important qualities of a society that wants to thrive and evolve, absolutely. But kind of think about the other aspect of innovation and entrepreneurialism. A lot of the research that's been done on that has demonstrated that it's really about people working together, taking ideas that were developed by those that came before them to drive new ideas and innovation. But imagine this world that is totally free. Everyone has total and absolute individual freedoms. Actually, you could imagine that it would lead to anarchy. Because here's the deal. There's no one to stop crimes, no one to put out fires, no one to help individuals that might be impacted by a hurricane, for example. We might not have fresh and healthy drinking water. All of those individual freedoms, without any consideration of the common good, the society is going to fall apart, right? So simply put, my argument is we absolutely need both. We need balance. And this balance, the tension between kind of being an ant colony, the common good, and total anarchy, all about individual freedom, that drives so much of the debate that we have in our democracy. And I would argue that this is the framework that we should consider when we debate ideas regarding our democracy and public policy and how we live and work in a civilized society. So in our democracy, we have leaned, I think, towards this individual freedoms and rights. The Bill of Rights, 10 amendments to the Constitution. It's very clear. We believe in individual freedoms. But in order to form a more perfect union, we also acknowledge that we as a society must work together to achieve our common goals: justice, general welfare, domestic tranquility, and the common defense. Now, it isn't one or the other. We need a balance of both, and we need people to absolutely take action and create opportunities and create businesses and lead organizations and drive innovation and discovery. Absolutely, we need that. But we also need people to appreciate the common good. Transportation, communication networks, safety, the collective contributions that people have as a society living together. But what's missing is this awareness of that tension in my mind, this tension between individualism and collectivism. Thriving communities and societies balance these two perspectives, and we need to make sure we have both. Public good is created when we balance individual freedoms with the common good. That creates public good in my mind. So how do we do this? Well, I would say it's not very easy, right? In fact, it's quite difficult, especially in a country of over 330 million people, right? But it takes citizens, individuals, who are actively engaged in our democracy, and that they are absolutely committed to open and honest dialogue and debate, curious about other perspectives, absolutely, and committed to fairness and equal opportunity for all. And I believe higher education should play a very significant role in this endeavor. You know, college is somewhat of a unique opportunity, one that I believe it's really hard to duplicate anyplace else. Students can come here, spend 4 years or fewer or a little bit more in some cases, but they are intensely focused on gaining all kinds of skills that's going to benefit them their entire life, right? The rest of their life. And it's in a setting, though, designed just for that, right? Individual. Students come to college, and if we do it right, you know, they will grow, and then they'll learn. They're going to gain new knowledge in their area of interest. Because in our society, in our country, those students can study whatever they want, not what perhaps a generation of families before them have done or what someone else tells them to study. You have the freedom to choose what you want to study. And in fact, you're encouraged to have discussions with each other on our campuses to bring people together from all backgrounds and perspectives. And then you can decide what activities they want to be a part of, which gains leadership skills and communication skills and learning how to collaborate and work with others. All of those are benefits that will personally benefit the student in their careers and in their lives. That's individual freedom to make those decisions, if you will. However, this doesn't occur in a vacuum, right? It does not occur in a vacuum, but in a place where we must all respect the individual rights and freedoms of all members of our community. And it's also a place where the faculty and the staff, they've worked hard to develop a curriculum and experiences and opportunities that are available for all community members, all students to be a part of. That's the common good. So that idea that higher education empowers students to leverage their individual rights and freedoms, to gain knowledge and skills to benefit others, while also developing an understanding of the benefits that have been derived from the common good. That is the key. You know, but it doesn't end there, because I would argue for us to advance as a university, and our society as well, we must recognize our individual role and responsibility we have to move our community forward, to create a more perfect university or a more perfect union so that future members of this community will also benefit. It is what drives a learning community like ours, a public university for the public good. You know, our students will take the skills and knowledge that they've obtained, and they will make their communities better throughout their lives and careers. That's the ripple effect of higher education. That is the ripple effect of public good. Encouraging individual rights and recognizing the importance of the common good. It isn't one or the other, it is both. And for our community to thrive into the future, we must respect individual rights and freedoms while also promoting the overall and general welfare of our community and society. That is public good. Thank you.